the union strife, from a handshake snub to walking out of the speech in protest to actually ripping up the text of the speech. Why can't we all just get along?
Big news for Cleveland as Sherwin Williams tells us they are staying put. We'll take a look inside the deal and tell you what cost may come to the city. Also, we get the story from Jay-Z as to why he and Beyonce sat during the national anthem during the Super Bowl.
And how much do you know about heart health? Dr. Mythbuster is here with some facts, Betsy, that can save our lives. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New with Betsy Kling and Jay Crawford.
And hello again, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday hump day. You have been ignoring me all day. What are you doing?
You're talking to me, and I am posting literally on my Instagram feed and on Twitter right now, not only where the ice and snow forecast is, but if you swipe, eye alert chances.
Okay.
You can get a sneak peek at Betsy Kling on Instagram and Twitter.
You better follow her.
It'll be on my Facebook pretty soon, as soon as I get a chance for another break.
Official introductions with Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford, and here is what's new at 5 o'clock.
This is the first time I've sat down since I walked in.
I know you've been a busy woman.
We have an interesting situation setting up for the overnight hours tonight, everybody. Matt Wintz joins us now with the latest on the wintry conditions that we have that are going to be, well, I said interesting again, but I think it bears repeating. It's going to be interesting.
It definitely is going to be. We've been talking about this for a couple of days, and now it's here. We've got some precipitation already moving into the Buckeye State, and that will eventually transition to our wintry mix and icy mix overnight tonight. So the big picture looks like this. Winter weather advisory, that's what's new, 6 p.m. through 10 a.m. tomorrow. I think we're still going to see impacts beyond that 10 a.m. hour tomorrow. That's for the bulk of Northeast Ohio, Tuscarawas, and Carroll County. You're going to see a little bit more rain from this, but still perhaps some icy conditions overnight tonight. So this is what we're dealing with. Here's our next slug of moisture along our train that we've been seeing over the last couple days. The bulk of the moisture with this little area right here, and that is now pushing into Ohio. And basically, that's going to head into our colder air that we have, and we're going to have some icy problems tonight on through Thursday morning. So let's just give it right to you here. Your winter storm timeline tonight, you can expect that snow and icy mix to develop. Look at the temperatures just steady right near freezing, either above or below. The whole duration tonight, it transitions from that snow to freezing rain, sleet, and a little bit of snow still left over. Tomorrow morning, it'll become a little bit more on and off, but still dealing with that icy mixture throughout the day. We'll detail impacts, where we're expecting all this to, and how much is going to accumulate coming up in that full forecast. Jay.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. We'll see you in just a little bit. Our big national story today, breaking news out of Washington, President Donald Trump has been acquitted on both articles of impeachment. The final up or down vote on the articles happening within the last hour on in the Senate chamber. The vote largely along party lines. The first article of impeachment, that was on the abuse of power charge, failed 48 to 52, just one defection there, and that was Republican Senator from Utah Mitt Romney. He voted to impeach on that charge.
Now, the second article, obstruction of Congress, failed 47-53. That vote went strictly across party lines. Remember, for Mr. Trump to be removed from office, a supermajority was needed, which means 67 votes. Obviously, both articles failed to even get anywhere near a simple majority. Here's Chief Justice John Roberts.
The Senate, having tried Donald John Trump, President of the United States, upon two articles of impeachment exhibited against him by the House of Representatives, and two-thirds of the senators present not having found him guilty of the charges contained therein, it is therefore ordered and adjudged that the said Donald John Trump be, and he is hereby, acquitted of the charges in said articles.
And we'll have much more on the now ended impeachment trial that's coming up on What Matters Most at 6 o'clock.
Of course. Well, we do have some breaking news here at home. 3 News has exclusively learned that Sherwin Williams is keeping its headquarters right here in Cleveland. Mark Namick has been following this story for months and joins us now. So, Mark, what are the details? This is a big sigh of relief.
A lot of people want to paint the town red. Sherwin Williams is saying nothing official yet, but sources have told us that wheels are in motion for an announcement tomorrow that would keep the headquarters here at Public Square, right now behind Tower City, and a research and development facility which sits along the river would go over to Brecksville. There are a number of possible sites. There are a lot of people speculate on the idea that maybe it goes to the old VA hospital, but that is not confirmed yet. But that is a big win for Cleveland to lose a payroll worth $500 million in Cuyahoga County.
word.
Wow.
It's not like we're attracting those companies.
Right.
So that's a really important deal.
Mark, let's talk more about that because obviously Sherwin Williams is a huge business pillar in the Cleveland community. They've been here a century and a half.
Right. 153 years.
I mean, so talk about not necessarily the impact that we'll have on staying. What might this have done to Cleveland had they decided to leave?
Well, it would be seen as a momentum breaker. We're on the comeback, everybody likes to say, but we're not attracting big companies like
Right.
that. We failed with Amazon. Now, again, Amazon was a different animal, but this is a big deal. And if we had lost a flagship company like that, I think people would begin to look at Cleveland and say, I don't know, what's going on there? And that's why business leaders, the county, state, they've all come in with big dollar incentives, which we don't know about yet.
Talk about that. Obviously, there's going to be some
They're going to be
go
worth,
back.
Betsy, well, tens of millions, maybe 100.
Wow.
Because this is sale tax and
everything.
even income tax diversion that they give back to the company to help build that headquarters.
It's a big deal, and if they didn't have Dorian Gray on the market, I don't know what my house would look like. It'd be terrible.
Well, we'll find out more tomorrow, hopefully.
I think ultimately, Mark, the bottom line here is that trade-off, it's worth it to keep them here in
Many
Cleveland.
will make the argument.
All right. Mark,
Thanks.
thank you very much. We'll see you soon. Now on to your feed at 5, and we start there with last night's State of the Union antics by politicians on both sides of the aisle. In general, our question here is, do you approve or disapprove of the actions of our leaders last night? WKYC.com/vote now to weigh in. We're talking about President Trump not shaking Speaker Pelosi's hand before he began with his address. Then Nancy Pelosi broke a long-standing tradition in exactly how she introduced the president. She left many of the pleasantries out. Several Democratic lawmakers skipped the speech in protest. In fact, Ohio Democrat Tim Ryan actually walked out in protest. You see his tweet there. And then, really, the night was punctuated, Betsy, by Nancy Pelosi actually taking the text of President Trump's speech and ripping it for the camera to see. Here's what Representative Ryan had to say today about why he decided to leave last night.
I mean, it was an accumulation, and I really, didn't make a big deal about it. I just got up and left, and then a reporter spotted me, so we felt the need to tell people why I left. But it was just lie after lie after lie. And then even, the beautiful moments of the Tuskegee Airmen and the grandson, and then 30 seconds later going into bashing immigrants, and I just had enough.
All right. I've always believed that if you want to know anything about a particular society, look at its leaders, and it will tell you all you need to know. What do you make of last night?
There's a reason it's called political theater.
Yeah, boy,
And
also.
everyone was on the front of the stage all together. And so, it's all pomp and circumstance. There's so much contention, just generally speaking, so much disagreement right now. Yesterday at 2 p.m., I got dressed to come to work. I put on a beautiful winter white jacket
It
that
was
I
rather
just
lovely.
gotten.
Yeah.
Last night, as I kind of out of the side of my eye, I didn't get to watch the speech, but out of the side of my eye, I saw a lot of Democrats apparently had on white.
Sure.
And I told Russ as we sat down to do the 11, I said, you watch, I'm going to get people who are hating on me. I got numerous emails.
Wow.
How dare you? And I'm like,
And it was strictly coincidence.
I have a rule of on political days,
Right.
I wear purple.
Yeah.
Can't we all get along?
Yeah, that's so
I
true.
broke my rule last night. I'll never do it again.
I want to wrap it up with one quick note. There's one of my favorite songs. It's a 1985 Sting song. It's called Russians. And there's a line in that song. It's very simple. It says, there isn't a monopoly of common sense on either side of the political fence. And I don't know that that's ever been more true. I just wish that now that this impeachment trial is over, please, let's try to work together for the good of every man, woman, and child in the United States.
It's
Please.
a very good thing. Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of people are very nervous about political situations. They're nervous about finances, too. And some people think the Mega Millions, well, that's going to save everything, isn't it? Well, actually, last night's Mega Millions drawing produced 3 different $1 million winners, and one of the winning tickets was purchased here in Ohio at a retailer in Sydney, which is about 20 minutes from Dayton. That ticket is worth $1 million.
So that got us to thinking. What would we do if you really had an extra $1 million? The popular answer is, I'd share it, I'd give it to charities, and I'm sure most of us would. Betsy, 3 things that you would do for yourself or your family if you had that extra $1 million.
My first response was, it's only $1 million? If it's Mega Millions, it's supposed to be like 300 million.
That's what I thought too. It's only $1 million now.
For me, I would pay off my house.
Oh, okay.
I would probably get
Practical.
a new vehicle. And
Nice.
I would put a lot of money in college fund for my kids.
You are fiscally responsible.
That's where it would be.
I am not.
Oh.
Okay, so I had fun toying around with this idea. So here's the way I would spend it. I want a luxury liner. I'm going to trade in my current boat. I want a motorcycle, but it has to be an off-road motocross style bike.
Budget in for a helmet, please.
I will.
Thank you.
With $1 million, I can afford it. And I'm also going to invest in that 90-day worldwide cruise that we're hearing a lot about. It makes like 60 or 70 port stops.
I'd be all right.
I want to spend 90 days on a cruise ship. I love
would be
cruises.
good.
Yeah.
Right? If those girls get scholarships, then obviously I have that money to play with.
Practical? Impractical.
I could go and travel the world for sure. Well, we want to get a check of the other headlines for the day today. Sarah Shookman joining us from the newsroom. Hey, Sarah.
Hello. Hi to both of you.
Hi, Sarah.
Well, Monica has been right about this, guys, as she always is, right? The coronavirus is capturing all the headlines, but it's the flu that is proving to be more deadly here in the United States. In fact, today, Lake County is reporting its first child flu death of the season. The 11-year-old is the second pediatric flu death in Ohio. The first, as you may remember, was 16-year-old Kaylee Roberts in Berea in Cuyahoga County. The flu shot is still available, and use common sense, friends. If you are sick, stay home. Well, the reward for information in the murder of 2 people in the Rocky River Reservation has now climbed to $100,000. Carnell Sledge and Kate Brown were killed inside the Metro Park 8 months ago. They were sitting on a bench near the Lorraine Road Bridge when they were shot in the head. Kate Brown's family says they raised $70,000 of that new reward money themselves in her memory.
Kate was my best friend. We talked every day. I still call her and leave her voicemails. She loved animals. She loved art. She loved her family, her nieces and nephews.
She was at the top of her game. She was enjoying life. She loved going down to the park. She would go down with her mom and play cards, sit on a blanket, and I can't believe we're standing here.
The FBI did update us and says it has multiple leads in that case. Also today, the Cleveland Browns formally introduced their new general manager, Andrew Berry. At 32, Berry is the youngest ever NFL GM. He says he is head coach Kevin Stefanski's biggest supporter. And while Berry will have final say over the team's 53-man roster, decisions about the draft, free agency, and roster moves will be collaborative. Berry wants to be defined by aggression and aggressively acquiring talent. Sounds nice. He was, of course, previously with the Browns for 3 years, and he was here when the team drafted Baker Mayfield. So he says the organization is really excited about his future.
We are too.
Yeah, I like the aggressively acquiring talent trait.
Yes, I think that sounds very strong.
I like it. All right, Sarah, thanks. We'll see you at 6.
All righty. Well, new at 5, being happy and having strong emotional vitality can help lower your risk of heart disease. So smile, everybody. Our Dr. Mythbuster is here to quiz us on heart knowledge.
And Stephanie Haney is ahead with Clicking in Cleveland. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Jay. You know, Shaquille O'Neal's son, Sharif, he has something very sweet in common with LeBron James. We'll tell you what that is. And Coors Light, of all companies, is investing in puppy love this Valentine's Day. That and more for you when we come right back after this break on What's New.
I think Stephanie Haney has one of the coolest jobs going.
Right.
All day I look at her, she's online, and she's tracking what Clevelanders are clicking on. It's a pretty good gig.
It's not bad.
What did you find today, Stephanie?
Well, I thought this was pretty interesting. Shaquille O'Neal's son, he's following in LeBron James' footsteps. He got himself 2 tattoos to honor Kobe and Gianna Bryant. He's a college basketball star, and he shared this photo after the two of them passed away. And he's previously said Kobe was like an uncle to him. You see him there with the 2 jerseys. Here are the 2 tattoos. One of them has Kobe and Gianna's jersey numbers there. You see that on the left. And then the other one on the right says Mamba Mentality. LeBron James did the same thing last week. We talked about that before. He got himself a black snake on his thigh with a 24 and an 8, and his tattoo says Mamba for life, honoring him with the ink there.
Cool.
All right, now to that puppy love story. Coors Light is paying dog adoption fees across the entire country from now until February 21st.
Wow.
This was really surprising to me. Apparently, half of millennials are planning to stay in on Valentine's Day this year. So Coors Light says that you should savor the day with a Coors Light and a dog by your side. So they're doing this for 1,000 adoptions between now and February 21st at midnight Central Time. So us here on Eastern Time, we get till 1 a.m. on the 22nd. So take advantage of that extra hour, get yourself a dog. You can text Coors, the number 4K, the number 9, and a picture of your receipt to 28130. And they will pay $100 towards your adoption fees.
That's
you
wonderful.
can snuggle up with a little snuggle bug.
Great story.
That is
Yes.
cool.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Good PR. Stephanie, thanks.
They're smart.
You want to know what else people are clicking on?
Yeah.
The forecast.
Yeah, I know. They want to know what's going to happen.
Dun. It is, right?
It's here.
I woke up this morning and it was very groggy and fuzzy, and then
Yeah.
I went, it's storm day.
Oh, I said that yesterday. I said, most people will say it's Wednesday, but
Right.
meteorologists are like a storm,
Yeah.
so it's just a
Just so
different
you know, most people do not get excited when a winter storm's
That's
coming.
true.
You guys are not most people.
Intense.
It's kind of strange.
Oh,
weather word?
infighting.
Infighting.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Where'd
is
that
it not
come from?
appropriate after last night for
Yep,
crying out
that's
loud?
true.
But I don't know how you're going to work that into a
I
forecast.
have no
Good
idea.
luck with that.
My vocabulary is really just weather words, so I don't even know what that means. I'll figure it out. All right, here we go. The snow's starting to move in. It's going to start as snow. We've been highlighting that last few days. We've got the cold air in place now, not just here, but up in the atmosphere as well. So we've got some pretty decent snow. Likely some bigger snowflakes heading into Sandusky here over the next 5 or 10 minutes or so, down towards areas of Huron County as well. But the bigger picture shows this area of moisture that's coming into our cold air. This is going to be what we're going to be dealing with as we go throughout the course of your evening. So let's take you hour by hour through that forecast. You can see how we've got the precipitation overspreading the area 7, 8, 9 o'clock. So most of this after the evening rush hour. That's the good news, exception being off to the west and down towards Mansfield. But as it moves in, I think initially some snowflakes, and then it'll transition to some freezing rain and sleet. Likely sleet first, and then over to some freezing rain. Our models indicating perhaps some rain mixed mixing in with that down in Dover, New Philly, over towards Carrollton, where we've got slightly warmer temperatures. But bottom line this evening, things are going to go downhill in a hurry all across northern Ohio as we bring that icy mix through the area. As we go through the overnight hours, everything's still on the map is in that pink shade, so we're dealing with that icy mixture of freezing rain and sleet. Will be some breaks in the action. Once that initial push of moisture goes through here, it's not going to be an all-out precipitation event overnight. I do think we'll see it go on and off through your morning hours as well. Now, keep in mind the time frame on this. This is the morning rush hour. This is when superintendents are making decisions. Are we going to be able to clear things up in time? Because we're still going to have some icy mixture going on as we go throughout the morning hours. It will come and go throughout the day. I do think we see a little bit of a warming trend as we get down towards just south of Akron. So Canton down towards our southeastern counties, that may change things over to rain briefly. But much of the area is still dealing with that icy mixture and even some snow mixing in as we get back towards Sandusky. And look at temperatures as we go throughout the afternoon. We are right near that critical freezing mark as we go through the day. By tomorrow evening, colder air eventually comes back in, so any ice that we have out there will eventually change over to some snow on top of that. And Friday looking pretty snowy at this point. So you're going to hear a lot in terms of ice accumulation numbers. Quarter inch or less, that is what we call a nuisance. So you're going to have to be scraping those windshields, slick bridges, light ice on trees. This is what most of us are going to be dealing with as we go throughout the morning, tomorrow, and throughout the day. But once we get above a quarter inch to a half inch, that's when it becomes disruptive, where the tree limbs can break. We deal with power outages, and most of those roads are icy. We may have some totals up in that range, up to maybe a half inch if things really come together in terms of freezing rain. So here's the ice accumulation forecast. I think I-71 corridor right in between there is where we're going to have that icy mixture, and falling from the sky tomorrow, we're going to have a little bit of snow mixing in, that icy mix right in the heart of the area, and then that rain mix down towards the south. So not a lot in fighting when it comes to the computer models because we've had. Did you like that? Yes.
Not a lot of infighting on the models.
Doesn't make any sense. In terms of snow accumulation, could be quite heavy if you're traveling up towards Toledo, Michigan. We're going to lay some ice on top of that, then mostly rain down to the southeast. So that's how things are going to lay out tomorrow. And then beyond that, we have some widespread snow across the areas. We get colder air on Friday. The weekend looking quiet outside of some snow flurries at this time. And then next week, a very active week once again with some rain-snow mix. We'll be right back.
How are you? I told this that you're going to make it. Or Dr. Laughing. And he's my favorite doctor because
Mic check, 1, 2. Hi, I'm Luke Laughing. Check, that's good.
It is
Oh, my.
Wellness Wednesday, and here's a fun fact for you.
We'll find it.
Your heart beats about 100,000 times per day. It's
That
kind of
is
incredible.
amazing.
If your heart rate is less than 70, like in the 60 range, then it's about 84,000 beats per minute. But that's a lot of work, Betsy. So it is American Heart Month, and we're making sure that you know all of the dangers of heart disease. So,
Trying to encapsulate it, but it's not that easy. So we invited Dr. Luke Laffin to join us. He's a preventative cardiologist from the Cleveland Clinic, and he's going to play the role of our Dr. Mythbuster today. And you're going to be helping to help us understand fact versus fiction.
Yes.
And then explain why.
Of course. Yeah.
So from my understanding, our first topic
he's going to make a statement, which it's up there.
Cause of death.
And we'll say fact or fiction.
So
Here we go.
Fact or fiction.
Yeah.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death in men, but not women in the United States.
Heart disease, I'd go along with that. Yes.
All right,
That's
so we're
fact.
split. Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, that's fiction. So heart disease is the leading cause of death in both women and men in the United States.
Kind of tricky,
okay?
tricky.
About a quarter of all deaths are due to heart disease.
That's astounding to me.
You know, we did a survey for this month, and we looked at it, and most people think it's breast cancer in women, but it's not.
It's
I would
heart
have guessed
that.
Yeah. Big
You
Go
hear
Red
so
for
much
Women
about it.
luncheon tomorrow.
Exactly.
So it's a big
there
part
you
of
go.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right.
Number 2, our second statement is,
So
Monique, you can tell me, and I'll relay it to the doctor.
It is about.
Well, the second one is 90% of heart disease preventable.
Okay.
Is 90% of heart disease preventable?
So 90% of heart disease is preventable.
I'm going to say that's fiction. That seems awfully high.
That does seem high. Is it high?
So that is actually fact.
Wow.
90% of this can be avoided.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
I would have thought so much of it was genetics.
Now, clearly there is a genetic role that is at play,
Yeah.
but we need to know that if we control things like blood pressure, high cholesterol, blood sugar, obesity, we definitely can see a very clear reduction in cardiovascular risk and
Well, that's
risk of strokes and
encouraging.
heart attacks.
You know?
All right,
So-
speaking of cholesterol, our next fact or fiction is.
Okay, so even if you don't have risk factors for heart disease, you should start getting your cholesterol checked in your 40s.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry.
Yes, that's
All right.
a fact.
Well, actually, that's fiction. Because we actually recommend that you get your cholesterol checked in your 20s, at least
20s,
once.
yeah.
Earlier
Wow.
than that,
Okay, yeah.
So that we
Right.
can identify people at higher risk. And it doesn't necessarily mean we need to start medicines, but really trying to institute those lifestyle recommendations. Healthy diet, exercise,
That
etc.
makes sense. That really is the key. Diet, exercise, follow that, you got a much better chance.
Oh,
And
yeah,
speaking of
definitely.
diet, our next fact or fiction.
Exactly. So there's one dietary pattern that's been proven to reduce strokes and heart attacks.
Just one?
Just one.
I'm going to say
To reduce.
fiction.
I'm going to go fact just because.
All right. So you're right. It's fact. Okay.
Victory lap.
Really, our best data is from the Mediterranean diet.
Okay.
There was a large study published in 2013 looking at that versus a low-fat diet, and really, a Mediterranean diet is best for heart health. Okay, preventing strokes and heart attacks.
Fabulous.
So that's what
Dr.
we recommend.
Dr. Luke Laffin from the Cleveland Clinic, thank you so much for helping us know fact from fiction. Cool stuff. We'll be right back.
Makes sense.
How are you? Testing 1 2, testing 1 2 3 4. Thank you.
Yeah.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New with Betsy Kling and Jay Crawford.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's New. Here is what we're working on for you this half hour. We are keeping a very close eye on snow and freezing rain moving our way. Matt Wentz will have all the latest details to keep you safe overnight.
And there's a really cool brand new LED exhibit. It's at the Akron Art Museum. Jason Fraser is there live to show us that. Can't wait for that. And we're going to hear from a 100-year-old Cleveland airman who was not only honored at the State of the Union last night, but by NASA today. This guy is incredible. But first, Russ Mitchell is at his desk in the newsroom. He has the top headlines here at the bottom of the hour. Hello, Russ.
Jay and Betsy, good afternoon, and good afternoon, everyone. For only the third time in American history, a United States president has been acquitted in an impeachment trial. The Senate voted this afternoon to acquit President Trump on both articles of impeachment, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. One Republican voted to convict on the abuse of power charge. That was Senator Mitt Romney of Utah. More on this at 6 and on Nightly News at 6:30. Also, 2 new lawsuits have been filed in the 2010 University Hospital's fertility disaster. One involving a couple who lost 9 eggs and has no children. The second, a couple who lost 5 embryos while trying to add to their family. More than 4,000 eggs and embryos were compromised when the storage and preservation system at the UH Fertility Center failed. And the Ohio Department of Health is monitoring one person who is being tested for novel coronavirus. The CDC is running those tests. The results are expected in the next few days. It is not clear exactly where that patient lives in Ohio. More on these stories and more, as I said, tonight on Channel 3 News at 6. Jay and Betsy, back to you in the studio.
All right, Russ, thank you very much. It is time for today's Top Talker. What a moment last night at the State of the Union address when President Trump introduced us to Charles McGee. What a cool story, 100 years young. This guy looks like he's 70. It's incredible. Amazing. He's a former Tuskegee Airman. He served not only in World War II, but also in Korea and Vietnam, which these conflicts were 20 years apart. As we learned last night, McGee is from here in Cleveland, and Andrew Horansky has been digging into his backstory all day. Andrew, Charles McGee is a flat boss. No other way to say it.
And you could say he is having the best week ever, by the way. I mean, he has stamina that puts us all to shame. If you were watching last night, you could not have missed seeing Colonel Charles McGee, a name that's been trending ever since. People are obsessed with this guy. He was sitting next to his great-grandson, as you saw, who's in the 8th grade and dreams of one day joining the nation's Space Force program, while his great-grandfather is among the last remaining Tuskegee combat pilots from World War II. Now, keep in mind, only 9 of them remain. McGee was among those men who made history as the first African-American U.S. military pilots, and it was said at the time that they were really fighting 2 wars, one overseas against Hitler, of course, and one here at home against racism. McGee flew 136 combat missions over Nazi Europe, but he did not stop there. Hundreds more in Korea and in Vietnam. And then this past December, he was in the skies again, piloting a plane on his 100th birthday. This week, he offered the coin that was flipped at the Super Bowl. He's been honored by the president. While today he was at NASA headquarters asking the room what it was doing for future generations.
Wow. Are you mentoring a youngster coming along behind you? Whether it's in your family, in your neighborhood, or in the city, there are youngsters needing that. It's a message we need to take all across our country. And that's why I say to you, if you aren't mentoring a youngster, find one, because they're out there and they are in need, and they are our future of our country.
Certainly a man with a message, a trailblazer, an inspiration. More on what he has to say tonight at 6.
He makes us all proud. I mean,
he does.
Put him in the history books now, right? Can we
get
a movie on this man's life?
I know.
What exactly are his ties to Cleveland?
So he was born here, but he moved away at a very early age, but spent much of his life in the Midwest. He lived in Iowa, he lived in Illinois, he went to college at the University of Illinois. But he said today he still considers himself to be a Buckeye, even though he'd lived here just a few years.
We'll take him.
We claim him.
He's ours.
Let's claim him.
Charles McGee. We need a statue somewhere in Cleveland.
Somewhere in Cleveland.
Cool.
That's
Charles
right.
McGee. That's amazing. All right.
Thanks, Andrew. Great story.
Sure.
Well, it's time now for our pop break. Stephanie Haney is back, and Steph, we're learning about some of the spicy details from Jessica Simpson's new book.
Oh, yes, we are. Jessica Simpson is definitely shedding that perfect image with no apologies. telling us what she regrets about her marriage to Nick Lachey. Here's your pop break.
Jessica Simpson's new memoir is The Gift That Keeps On Giving. In open book, she reveals she was having an emotional affair with her Dukes of Hazzard co-star Johnny Knoxville while she was married to Nick Lachey. And in a recent interview with Dr. Oz, Jessica also said she regrets not signing a prenup before marrying Nick. The reality star and singer said Nick wanted one, but she was offended and thought, this is never gonna end. We now know why Beverly Hills 90210 star Shannen Doherty went public with her stage 4 breast cancer diagnosis. She says it was going to come out in a lawsuit against her insurance company.
I don't want it to be twisted. I don't want it to be a court document. I want it to be real and authentic, and I want to control the narrative.
The lawsuit says State Farm didn't consider her diagnosis in her wildfire damage claim. She wants $2.7 million to have her house rebuilt. State Farm says her home didn't suffer fire or structural damages and believes they have paid what is owed. Looks like this one is going to court. And now we know for sure Jay-Z and Beyonce were not making a political statement by staying seated during the national anthem at the Super Bowl. Jay said they were in artist mode and were really just looking at the show, and they didn't have to make a silent protest because of his other Super Bowl contributions. He said, if you look at the stage and the artists that we chose, Colombian Shakira and Puerto Rican J-Lo, we were making the loudest statement.
So Blue Ivy was with him, too, at the Super Bowl. And Jay-Z also said that there's no way that she would have been able to handle making a political statement like that. She would have been bothering them the entire time. Like, are we doing it now? When are we doing it? When are we doing it, Dad?
Right.
It's a parenting move for sure. Yeah. Well, it's good to hear from him.
Stephanie, thanks. Still ahead on What's New today is National Weather Person Day. So Matt, Betsy, happy Weather Person Day to you both. Mike Polk hits the Beer Fest to quiz people on weather terms. I cannot wait for that.
So, Matt, how's the weather?
Well, we're going to play a quick game. All right, crippling ice storm on the way tomorrow. You might have seen the headline.
That's fiction.
Fiction, that's right. We may have an impactful ice event tomorrow. Facts, yeah. Hey, we'll break down what the impacts are because it is coming.
Oh, that's great.
We're breaking down your forecast. I can't wait for that Mike Polk feast. That'll be good.
It will be funny.
That'll be fun.
Well, it's time now for our pop quiz. Since it is Weather Person's Day, I usually don't celebrate it. We're asking, what is the darkest month of the year in the Northern Hemisphere? It's a happy day, but we're going dark. December, January, or February. We'll have your answer on the other side of the
Why don't you celebrate it?
Every day is Weather Person Day.
My favorite thing about the commercial break is when Betsy decides to sing and dance.
It's
I
terrible.
only wish you could enjoy it at home.
What is the darkest month of the year? That's what the whole web thing is for. We do stream it live offline. But anyway, when is the darkest month?
Well, the axis tips, it's to furthest northern
Are you
point.
doing science
So it would be December.
It is
and
December,
its
actually.
brightest would be June.
Very
or its
good.
lightest, whatever you want to call
Yes, December is our darkest time.
it. Yep.
So it's getting brighter.
Which I love. We're adding like a couple minutes to our daylight every day.
1 to 2.
Yeah, Matt Wentz taught me that a couple of weeks ago. Betsy, today is a pretty awesome day, even though I'm a little disappointed you don't like to celebrate it. I think you should. I think you should revel in the celebration of National Weather Person Day.
I told you what I thought about it.
I know. She's really not a fan. Anyhow, we love it, and we love to celebrate with all of our terrific meteorologists here at 3 News. We thought it would be fun to send Mike Polk out to Beer Fest to quiz Clevelanders on their weather knowledge. Roll it.
There it is, everybody. Beer Fest. What a perfect place to test everyone's knowledge of National Weather Person Day. That's right, we're going to ask people specific meteorological questions and see how many they get right. What is the solid form of water?
Snow.
Ice. Okay, that's okay. That's all right. We'll accept that. I'll accept snow. Fast-moving soil, rocks, and water that flow down mountain slopes.
Mudslide.
Mudslide. Great 21st birthday drink. Can we agree?
Oh, yeah.
Pretend there's a map over there.
So as the lake gets colder and more full of just angriness at Northeast Ohio, it brings in the snow.
The measure of, you know what? We are doing an important film here. The amount of water vapor in the air. Give it an H. Ends with humidity. That's a good life partner you got right there. 8. What is this, a beer fest? It's a round
prize here?
You get all the free tiny beers you can drink. That's what we're offering here at Channel 3.
Good.
And the knowledge that you're making Betsy Kling proud.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi.
And then we're miserable for a good month and a half, but don't worry, it'll rain until July.
Can I just get one of these real quick? Oh! Air that flows in relation to the Earth's surface. Wind? Wind is right! See? A visible collection of minute particle matter, such as water droplets and or ice crystals in the free air.
I have no idea.
It's a cloud.
And then after that, it'll be about 97 degrees with an 80% humidity, and then it'll be back to snow again, so.
Watch your butt, Matt Wentz. This guy's coming for you. All right, I want you guys to just say, Happy Weather Person Day.
Happy Weather
No,
Person
let me do it at the same time. I'll give you a countdown. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy Weather Person Day.
Person Meteorologist Day.
Thank you for being politically correct about it. Thank you.
Oh, I like that.
There's always a rebel.
Well done.
Right?
Is that the correct term, meteorologist? I wasn't sure. What's politically incorrect anymore?
They named the day Weather Person Day. We'll go with it.
Boy, it really upsets you. You really, I love how much you
Here's the
despise
deal.
it.
There's Groundhog Day. Everybody makes a big deal out of Groundhog Day. And personally, I feel like somebody went, oh, let's give the weather people a day. They have to have their own day.
Not even as popular as Groundhog Day. Well, we are going to fix that. You deserve the recognition that you're getting, particularly at this station. Let's face it, I can say you guys can't because you're all too nice, but all the other weather teams in town are. So I wanted to acknowledge how great you guys are. So you guys got certificates, each of you. That's one from Matt Wentz. It's one for Betsy Kling.
Meteorological dominance.
That's what you have a certificate in.
Yes.
Signed by me, Mike Polk Jr., and that doubles the value on
The
eBay.
authority.
This is great. So and everyone was represented, as you can see. We also have Michael Esme, obviously, and Holly's there, and Jason. Our whole weather team's fantastic.
Can I just say, look at this is what the back looks like.
You know what? Don't look at the back.
What?
We got
Why would
duct
you look
tape
at the
holding
back?
up the...
This.
I'm trying I try and make a nice gesture on
have to fix Holly's.
Meteorologist
It is
Day.
nice.
Yeah,
I appreciate your craft.
Mike.
No problem.
This
No,
is
thanks
the,
for everything you do.
Yeah, this is the, I see Book It behind this. Is this your old Book It?
That is my old book. Yeah, it is, actually. Look, got to cut corners
All
somewhere.
right.
yeah?
Well, speaking of it, we got to get going because you got a
All
lot
right,
to talk about.
let me head over there. Yeah. So
definitely.
Well done, Mike.
Thank you. Very
Meteorological
cute.
dominance, man.
Congratulations, Matt.
That's it.
Keep dominating.
We'll find out tomorrow if we dominated or not, based on how this goes. Yeah, we've got. I'm just going to spell it out for you. Obviously, we've been talking about this event, all the precipitation moving in as we go through the course of the evening. So this is what your timeline looks like this evening. If you're heading out and about, that's when things are going to deteriorate quickly. Snow, and it'll change over to an icy mix of freezing rain and sleet across the entire viewing area. Temperatures hovering right near freezing. Overnight tonight, that's when we all go pretty much icy mix, freezing rain, sleet, and a little bit snow off to the northwest. Temperatures still near freezing. And then tomorrow morning will become a little bit more on and off. Not as persistent will be the precipitation, but still dealing with that icy mix, and we'll be in the low 30s. Reason why we have all these different precip types, we've got warmer air up in the sky, up aloft coming in with this system, so that changes what that precip does on its way down. So when it starts melting and we're still cold at the surface, that's when you have the problem. So it's all about that warmer air aloft, nothing here at the surface in terms of what drives that. But you can see the area of moisture we have moving in. I think this really ramps up 7, 8, 9 o'clock this evening when we really start to see the heaviest of that precip move in. But we're getting some snowflakes now just to the west near Sandusky right now, down towards the Willard, Norwalk, maybe some flurries here over the next half hour or so. But most of us are going to be dry here for about another hour. And as we go through time, here comes the moisture moving on in. You can see that pink representing that mix of freezing rain and sleet. Perhaps all rain down to the south. I think we'll start as a mix down in Carrollton, Dover, New Philly, and go over to rain. You're a little bit warmer than everyone else. Meanwhile, we're dealing with that icy mix of snow and freezing rain and sleet off to the north. As we go through time, may get some breaks in the action, but bottom line, we're going to have some slick roads overnight tonight. Throughout the morning hours, this is when we're heading off to work or school tomorrow. If you still have it, again, we're going to have that ice mainly over the next couple hours, and then we're going to have the patchy, persistent ice overnight tonight. So we'll see how roads end up in the morning. But ODOT's got all their crews on it. I think they said 313 plows working on this. And then throughout the daytime tomorrow, I think that transition of the rain moves a little bit further off to the north, but we're highlighting the 71 corridor for that icy mess, and then maybe a little bit of snow off to the north and west. And notice how we have some breaks throughout the day. So it's not going to be all-out precipitation throughout the day, but still, it's going to be icy when it is precipitating, and then eventually tomorrow night on into Friday, we turn pretty snowy around here as that system starts to wrap up. So big picture looks like this: rain and mix down to the south and east, icy mix across the central and the heart of our area, and then snow mix off to the north and the west for you in Sandusky and the Norwalk area. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast looks like this. We deal with widespread snow after this on Friday, perhaps a couple inches out of that, especially out in the snow belt. Weekend quiets down with some scattered snow showers, and next week looking just as active. We've got several storm systems to watch. Welcome to February, everybody.
Exactly. Kids and teachers everywhere flushing ice cubes down the toilet to get a snow day tomorrow. Well, new at 5, Jason Fraser has a first look at a new LED art exhibit inside the Akron Art Museum.
That looks pretty cool, and this might be the cutest love story ever. Watch a couple with Down syndrome reunite on the Kelly Clarkson Show. It's our video worth the watch, and it is worth the watch. Welcome back to What's New. Our Jason Fraser is new in town, so he's hitting as many cities as he can. He wants to sort of get acquainted with the area, and this week he toured the Rubber City.
That's right, Jason. Those are my old stomping grounds. I grew up in Copley, just west of Akron, so you've seen some cool stuff down that way?
Oh, I certainly did, guys. You know, the folks down here were incredibly fun. They were very welcoming, and let me tell you, they certainly know how to feed a new person here in town. Now, I had a lovely opportunity to team up with Jim from the Akron Summit Convention Visitors Bureau, and let me tell you, he definitely knows how to treat a new guy here in town.
Jim, I smell a lot of peanuts. Where are we?
We are in the iconic downtown Akron Peanut Shop. This has been in operation since 1932.
It smells very nutty in here.
It is.
Get it?
It is
right.
nutty.
Clearly, I'm supposed to tell the weather, not joke.
I get nutty over dark chocolate-covered cashews or pecans.
Ooh.
We might get some for you before you leave.
Why is it called Akron?
Akron comes from the Greek for elevation. In Summit County, Akron is the high point.
What is this?
This system here takes you right to the gateway, we like to say, of the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which also includes a scenic railroad, the only scenic railroad in the country that runs right through the heart of a national park.
Our third stop is?
We are at the Northside Marketplace. This kind of public space has been activated with some food vendors, artisans, creating clothing and jewelry, finding things that maybe you didn't even know you need.
So they have a couple of different scents here, including hot buttered rum, which actually smells like butter and rum. I guess hence the name. So Jim, we've traveled around Akron a lot today. We've really worked up an appetite. So where are we?
We are at Lock 15 Brewing Company, and we have the owner, proprietor, and mastermind with us, Colin.
What makes this restaurant unique beyond any restaurant in Akron?
We wanted to pay homage to Akron's history and past. All the names of our beers go back to a classic Akron person, place, or thing. This is our Nashville hot chicken, and then this is our shrimp and grits.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, that hot chicken was hot, but you know what? It was delicious. The last stop of our tour here in the Rubber City is the Akron Art Museum, and joining me right now is Seema. Seema, so good to see you.
Nice, thanks for coming down here.
So, first question I have for you is, what would be the thing that most people here in Akron would be very surprised about?
I think most people around town would not know that we have 6,000 works of art and some of the most famous modern and contemporary works on view right now, free every Thursday.
So I know behind us here, we have one of the newest exhibits here. So tell me about this.
So I'm excited to preview with you. This is the first time it's been on local news. This is by Jenny Holzer. She's an Ohio artist. She's from Southern Ohio and she went to OU. And she's this really wonderful living female artist from our state that you can see in our galleries.
And I understand that it has like different messages that are scrolling.
Yeah, you could spend much more than half an hour reading these messages. There's lots of them, and many of them are very thoughtful, like the future is stupid. Now, I don't know what the future is going to be like. Maybe Jenny knows better than I do. But a lot of them, she's really making you think about art. And that's something that we really believe in, that art tells a little bit about the life we lead, the future that we're going to have, the past. All of those things are right here at the Akron Art Museum.
And I know some of these messages are also in Spanish as well, right?
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's bilingual. So it goes through the whole English messages and then the Spanish messages.
Well, Seema, let me tell you something. This was really cool to see. I have never never seen anything like this across the country in all of the places that I've been to. Seema, thank you. I appreciate you. And thank you also to Jim from the Akron Summit Convention Visitors Bureau, also the restaurants that we visited. And let me tell you, Betsy and Jay, we had not only a lot of fun, we ate really good as well. We also went to the peanut shop, as you guys saw. And whew, I got to go run a mile so I can get some of this weight off before the wedding in a couple weeks.
And now I'm hungry.
Right? Oh, that peanut shop is awesome. Thanks so much, Jason, for taking us around some of the new spots and old spots in Akron as well. We'll be right back with a little bit of Worth the Watch.
Cool. Thank you.
Hi there, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Hello, a winter weather advisory is in effect through rush hour tomorrow morning. Betsy?
Yeah, this is Mark. Sherwin Williams will announce tomorrow that it's staying in Cleveland.
Check 1, 2, 3, check 1, 2, 3, check 1, 2, 3. Brandon's microphone. This is what it sounds like to be Brandon.
It's time now for our video Worth the Watch, and this one will make you cry happy tears. Today, Nick Doyle from Canton reunited with his girlfriend Gabby on the Kelly Clarkson Show.
Yeah, the couple with Down syndrome captured America's hearts last year when a video of them reuniting at an airport was captured and went viral. Gabby lives in North Carolina, was on Kelly's show, talking about her coffee company when Nick surprised her. And Bets, that's what love looks like.
They are so adorable.
Yep, look at that.
That is a viral video for sure. Look at tears and everything. Aw, that's exciting.
Very cool.
Well, we have a lot to talk about coming up on What Matters Most. I have the clicker in my hand because I'm up first with the latest on the Icy Mix coming our way tonight.
See you tomorrow at 5.
Well, here it comes. The Icy Mix is moving in right now. We'll take you through the overnight hours. We're talking about tomorrow morning's commute and beyond in your full forecast.
Also, Acquitted. Months of investigations end with 2 votes in the impeachment of President Trump. We'll have the latest from Washington. Staying put, we break news about Sherwin Williams' new headquarters, the 2 locations where the company plans to build. Someone knows something. It's been 8 months since 2 were murdered in a popular metro park. What the family is doing to try and bring new leads. And real or rumor, we verify whether Lysol really kills the coronavirus.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
And good evening. We'll have full details on that historic vote to acquit President Trump on 2 articles of impeachment in just a moment. First, ice and snow are headed our way.
A winter weather advisory is in effect through rush hour tomorrow morning. So Betsy starts us off tonight. What can we expect tonight?
Well, we do have that winter weather advisory. It's for all of northern Ohio with the exception of Tuscarawas and Carroll counties here in our viewing area. It goes through 10 o'clock in the morning. And as we expand the picture a little bit, you can see what is coming in. It's coming in very quickly. We do have snow that is falling now in western Ohio. But what you have to see is the difference between snow, sleet, glaze, and rain, and it is that changeover, all 4 types of precip and them all mixing together. That is what is coming our way as we go through the night tonight. You can kind of see that trajectory as it's moving to the northeast. Now, keep in mind, the outcome will be different dependent upon where you are, but we already have the snow that is moving in from west to east across the area, and note that our temperatures are hovering at or just below freezing. That is everything in the outcome of this forecast, what our surface temperatures are going to do tonight, and then especially for the day tomorrow as we go from snow over to this icy mix. The heaviest snow is expected to be out toward Toledo, so if you have travel plans west on the turnpike, be advised, once you get out past Port Clinton, things are going to get a little bit nasty. But the ice is what we are mostly concerned about here throughout northeast Ohio, and this will be a mix of freezing rain with some sleet in there on the north end and rain on the south end. So right now, I think it's a good bet you can get your ice scrapers ready for the morning. We will have slick spots on untreated surfaces like steps, decks, porches, sidewalks, driveways, maybe even some of the roads like bridges and overpasses. And yes, school delays and or closings are possible. Here's your brand new iAlert possibilities. Best chances west with about a 50-50 shot throughout northeast Ohio. Remember, it's your local super that makes that decision tomorrow morning. Russ and Sarah?
Those are pretty good odds. We'll see you later, Betsy. Thank you.
Well, now to our breaking news. As the United States Senate has voted to acquit President Trump on 2 articles of impeachment.
Those votes ending an historic chapter of American history and came after a dramatic afternoon on the Senate floor. Here's NBC's Alice Barr.
Senators, how say you?
One by one, 100 senators standing today to record their votes for history, whether President Donald J. Trump should be removed from office.
Mr. Alexander, not guilty.
Though the president's acquittal has